Live. Welcome everyone to Alpha for Everyone. This is episode 11. 11 episodes in sounds crazy. I can't believe how many of these we've done, and the audience within the Gopher community are growing. I'm really excited here to introduce PK, who is building Semantic Layer. We connected over, we're both somewhat active within the base ecosystem. I think it was maybe 5 months ago, Brendan, it was actually our team that set up the AI base Telegram group, which
I
I'm not
love
sure if we
how I
still.
love how Zach thinks it's 5 months. I think it's
No,
like a
no, it was a
year
long.
ago.
It was a year ago.
Probably, yeah.
um, and
Maybe even
and
long. Yeah, maybe a year ago. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that community has blossomed into a group of, I believe, 200 people building at the intersection of crypto and AI, and more generally, people working within Base or Base affiliated. And that's where I got wind of Semantic Layer and what PK and his team are building. As a marketer, I was initially blown away by their kind of UX and design. I just loved the kind of Web 1.0 kind of e-bombs world aesthetic, and thought that was so cool. And although I'm not a sophisticated trader, kind of dived into the tools just because I just love the aesthetic. I'm an aesthetics guy as a marketer. So we're excited for them to join. They're going to give us a little demo, or a big demo, or a medium-sized demo, whatever it may be, of
Definitely a
what
big demo.
a big demo of what they built. And then, as usual, Brendan's going to give you guys an update on what we're building. So, PK, thanks for joining us. I'll let you intro yourself, and we can dive straight into your platform. Traders, keep your ears open. There's going to be a lot of interesting alpha and information in terms of what they're building and what we're building. So, yeah, let's get into it. Hi, PK.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me and us as a team on today. Yeah, I didn't realize you guys started that group. That's like one of the best alpha groups. There's so many founders in there. You can like get connected to anyone on base. It's like pretty sweet. So yeah, thank you for that, no doubt. Um, yeah, I guess a little about me. I've been in DeFi pretty much full time since like COVID kicked off and the world changed forever. Um, I I like kind of just did a lot of DeFi stuff on my own for a number of years, and then got a little deeper. And then I was like, you know what? I think I want to do this full time. I like some people are in it for the money. Money's great, but I'm really in it for like the DeFi ethos. Like I believe we need a decentralized kind of finance. There's so many financial rails, old school, that are just so messed up. Like it takes like 17 different check marks to get your cross-border payments through, like in the current regime, especially if you're in Europe. Like it's even more, maybe it's 23 or something. And it's like, why can't this just be 2 or 3 checkpoints with stable dollars? Like we don't need to wait T+3 for settlement and pay 7% to Western Union to do like cross settlement and all this stuff. And that's what really sold me on like the goodness of DeFi, for all of the other crazy stuff that happens. But not to go on too long here, but like I don't most people have probably never heard of it, but I helped found a project called Win Llama, the llamas. Um, it was like, I think it was in the last bear market, like it was around, Luna collapsed, FTX went down, everybody was very much in the doldrums, and the NFT kind of hype was just after the peak there. And I and a bunch of other people kind of on the ETH L1 DeFi 1.0, roadmap area. We were like, let's do something where we can use NFTs and showcase they're not just like only extraction. So we did this community project. We raised like over 1,000 ETH. We built like a couple different brand new novel mechanisms for auction systems for a decentralized jobs board. We got people bounty jobs to all these different like big protocols, and then landed some people like full-time positions from that, Polygon and other places. So it was like really cool to make a real impact. And that project, it's one of the NFTs, like I think the floor is basically like 1 ETH 3 years ago. The floor is still like 1 ETH. So people can basically stake their llama NFTs, and the treasury never, nobody ever took funds out of it. And so those funds are used in a multi-sig to yield, like in the Curve, Finance, and DeFi 1.0 ecosystem. And then we pass all the yield coming back from the treasury to people who are staking those NFTs. So it's kind of acting like an NFT wrapper.
Nice.
So that was like a really fun first project to get a little more into everything. Worked on a couple other just fun community projects. And then got into Semantic Layer, and I've been here for a year and a half now, and we're building some really cool stuff. Yeah, should I jump into Semantic Layer a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And,
love it.
And great to know like where like your grounded inspiration comes from for working within this ecosystem in the industry is in and around financial inclusion, which I know, I don't want to speak for Brendan, but kind of basically underlies everything that we've built to date together. Again, don't want to speak for you, Brendan, but through all the iterations of products and what we do, that's what we're here for. So great to speak to a like-minded individual.
Yeah. I think it takes that kind of conviction to stick around for a long time, right? Like it has to transcend capital and the money side of things. Otherwise, you're just not going to make it. So really agree with like the ethos and the philosophy of like DeFi being this incredible tool to provide just a lot of value over. And then, how do we then couple that with this new programmable intelligence that we now have that is just accelerating everything at a speed that is very, very hard to comprehend.
A scary speed.
Yeah. Things are moving insanely quickly. Especially in AI. So like, everything AI, 1.5 years ago, it was kind of like, okay, new virtuals project, another AI chatbot kind of thing, or like, you can use it to spam on Twitter before everybody hated the AI on Twitter. And there wasn't like a lot of crazy AI stuff really happening. And then just in the last maybe 6-9 months, like AI has really exploded to real use cases, I feel like, outside of just kind of the chatbot auto posting stuff. And that's where we're at, I guess, with everything we're building. We're going deep. But can you guys see the screen here?
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it perfectly. Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
working on a retweet of the spaces if I'm over here doing something. So I'm just making sure we get some more circulation out of doing that.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. I guess let me walk through it. So our main protocol here is the 42 protocol. I know we have a little 42 alignment. We can definitely get into that. But yeah, our first product here, we have the big 5 LLMs. So let me go to the heat map here. We have Grok, GPT, DeepSeek, Gemini, and Claude. And we're running them all like fully autonomously. So we did a test case first where no user funds were at risk because we didn't really know what was going to happen. So we did like a 1-month test back in November, December, just to kind of run the model, see how they performed on Polymarket, hooked them all up to real-time APIs, gave them a couple very soft kind of prompting guidelines, a few rails to make sure they didn't do anything like super crazy, lose all their money on one bet. We collected a lot of data, and then we fine-tuned, and then we launched for real for the first time with actual user trading live 2.5, 3 weeks ago. So these agents are all funded with 10K initially, and they're like loose on Polymarket. So they're fully autonomous. They're in control of their own funds, and we can see here these agents every couple of minutes they're continuously scanning like all the Polymarket markets that have enough liquidity for a safe size, and pretty much focused on financials to a degree. Like they're not going to do some crazy bets. So like in December, when we were doing the testing, they were doing some like crazy betting, like will Jesus come back before GTA releases and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, we need to make sure.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah, right. Like
yeah.
I'm not sure the agent really knows what it was doing there, so we're like, hey, let's guardrail just a couple markets like that. Let's make sure they stay more to financials. So it's really on them to make decisions. So one thing that's been interesting over the couple of weeks here is we've seen like certain models, even though they all have kind of the same very basic subset of like rules, they have different like internal risk parameters as models. So DeepSeek and Grok are a lot more selective on their positioning, whereas GPT is like spraying and praying like multiple positions a day. But whether or not they're trading every day, yeah, right. They have personality. It's coming through.
Yeah, I'm just seeing like correlation to some of the things that we've observed. Interestingly, and you guys do have Gemini on here. Okay,
yeah.
Gemini and Claude.
No Quinn. We want to add. We definitely want to add a few more models, and we're figuring it out. But yeah, like Grok, I think hasn't taken a new position in a couple of days, but every few minutes it's still scanning all these markets, so we can see all this like analysis, like just on the very base confidence, but then we can dive deeper, and we can see like their actual comments. So I think there is potentially a little alpha here, whether you're copy trading, inverse trading, or what, even if you're not using the platform, just to see what these models think on these markets. So like Gemini has a position here on will ETH dip. You know, it's just kind of giving these upsides, positions capped to 18%, et cetera, confidence score. So even the models that aren't on a position on that are still going to be commenting 11 months left in this market, you know, et cetera, 50% drawdown, blah, blah, blah. But like, you know, every hour, they're basically commenting on every single market here. And what you can do, we found, is that these models, even at the best performing, they're still not, you know, outcompeting humans. So we added one simple trick to make it profitable. You can counter trade. You know, you don't have to only copy trade. So right now, counter trading Grok and GPT seems to be the most profitable. But again, it's only been 3 weeks, so we'll see how.
So you make it super easy for anyone just to simply select a model and request it to counter trade based on all of its decisioning. And
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So okay, I can get into the tech side a little bit too here. So like, basically, well, first off, I guess I should say our Semantic Layer team, like before starting Semantic Layer, our devs ran Verilog auditing solutions. So we're coming from like very much the security mindset. I don't know if you guys like remember Butterfly, like Redacted Cartel. Rebrand is now De Niro. So like we audited them like way back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago, and a bunch of other stable dollar projects, Bold, some other like funny projects out there. If you guys remember, like Stepin, like the walking kind of semi meme coin thing and stuff like that. So coming from all of that auditing stuff, coming into this, we're like very security prone. So when you set up, when you want to copy or counter trade any of these strategies, it's like fully autonomous. So if you want to basically create a copy strategy or counter strategy, what happens is underneath your 2 or 3 clicks, you spin up a brand new dedicated autonomous agent, individual to your strategy. So your agent is going to basically be checking like every minute to copy and counter trade the model that you set up, and it's going to move the funds all around for you. It's going to be doing the bidding for you, and you as the user are the only one with control of that. So there's no like multi-sig that we have that all the funds sit in. We've done the coding work, so yeah, you are in full control. And we're using X402 as well, so people can deposit on Base, and you deposit USDC on Base. The agent, your new agent managing your strategy, will make an X402 request to move that USDC to Polygon, and from there it has permissions to use that on Polymarket, depending on what strategy you have set up, following your trade size limit and all of that. And then you can top up or withdraw anytime from your agent back to you. So your agent creates a brand new address and a brand new Polymarket trader account, but it's controlled by your main human address. And so one thing a lot of people have been wondering is like, if there's a Polymarket airdrop, will I get that? Because it's not linked to my address, it's linked to my agent's address. And yes, for everyone wondering, anything that your agent gets can be passed back to the core like founding address of the human who created the strategy. Nice. But like if I create, it's very simple. You just go to create new strategy, you select the model you want, or counter here, you click next, and then you just fund it, and you're good to go. So,
and this deals with all of the bridging from base to Polygon and so on and so forth. So you can kind of have it all seamlessly integrated. Is that the correct way of thinking about this?
Yeah, totally. So like if you're on base, you do USDC and it handles everything with X402. If you want to go directly, you can go straight to Polygon and use USDC.E. And they both fund, the same way. So
nice.
Let me show the heat map and stuff a little bit here too. Let's see what what GPT is up to. So like we have this kind of, fun heat map. You can see when the agent took a position, the chart, the same Polymarket chart, is going on, how much they're up or down. And then over here, we can see how much of their overall portfolio is in the positions and all of that. So I have a big 50K position countering Grok here. I'm up a little under, well, actually, 0.5% or so, and it's been about a week. So it's nothing crazy, but if it stays consistent over a year, if that's, 40%, 50% APR, I mean, that's pretty wild. So you can see my positions right here. My agent automatically just does this. I have a trade size limit of 5,000, but it doesn't mean it's going to be 5,000 every trade. So my agent's using its own risk parameters. So I say you can trade up to 5K at a time, but it only traded, 1,500 on this position and 1,200 on this position from the starting point. But I have my own heat map here. I can see my positions as well. I can see all the trades I've had, and we can even, view the direct activity of my agent's account that I control on Polymarket here.
I got a question, PK. When you said your agent has its own risk assessment or risk appetite, is that something you set up within the arena? Like, is there like tools to allow you to build that risk assessment, or is that something you've done separately outside of the Semantic Layer kind of product suite?
I guess kind of separately, or in a sense, we made this to be as autonomous as possible. So there aren't really that many human inputs. It's really all based on the core models that are being copied, and then your agent is just taking risk equal to their take, basically. So the only human option.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, PK. I was going to ask a question. I didn't interrupt you. I've got a bit of a delay. Carry on.
Oh no, it's good. But yeah. So like there aren't that many human options. I mean, basically all the options are about controlling your funds. So you can set the trade size. You see here, switch over to Polymarket or Polygon. We can edit the trade size. The agents live on Polygon. If I want to withdraw, I can withdraw all my funds. You see, I can only withdraw 44K here. That's because the other, 4K is in these positions. I could sell all positions if I wanted to, and then withdraw all funds. And then the other thing is just topping up, from base or from Polygon mainnet. And that's really all the human input. So yeah, it's really very much is autonomous.
Got a question for you. So like when it comes to like risk management parameters, like whether or not it's going to cut itself out of a position, beyond setting capital that's being allocated in terms of the size of bet it can place, all of the risk management is modifiable by the agent, and you yourself don't set any risk parameters. There aren't any kind of like overrides, or I would say like, how would we call it on our side, circuit breakers, where if anything kind of goes awry, you've got that as like a backstop. Have you guys sort of given all of the agency for risk management to the agent itself?
Yeah, 100%. We set some guardrails in prompting, and we updated those after the November-December testing. So there are kind of two different versions of guardrails. One are like soft and one are hard. So some of the hard ones are like, set to the trading size. So I guess this is the one limit the human can put to make sure the agent doesn't spend like 100% of your portfolio at once. But then there are lots of soft.
I've definitely seen that behavior where if you do not set a cap on capital allocation, the capital allocation can scale aggressively.
Yeah. The agents may not know your total funds. They may YOLO when
even if they do, they can keep adding if you don't have those guardrails. It's really interesting behavior. It's a behavior pattern that I've observed consistently, especially with some of like the kind of I'd say just mainstream models like Claude, ChatGPT, Haven't done much experimentation with Grok, honestly. We've done a lot more experimentation with other different models to what you guys are doing here, like the Quens and some fine-tuned models and time series based models and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of on them, like the models to the largest degree. Like a couple of the other small things are those guardrails more about like what markets they can participate in. So most of our real-time APIs are financial APIs. So like we block, the Jesus GTA stuff, but we blocked a couple other things too. Like we blocked some of the sport betting to a degree because like the real-time API info isn't getting the agents the alpha they need for that. Humans are definitely outperforming on like sports, like knowing, what one NFL quarterback has a sprained ankle and who doesn't, and that type of stuff. The agents don't always know that.
Yeah, that's interesting. have you guys looked at the 15-minute crypto markets on Polymarket, where you've got a very repetitive closing period, so you can iterate quickly, or agents can iterate quickly on what they're kind of learning from prior markets? Is that something you guys have dived into? We've done a little bit of research there, and we found that it's quite nice because the speed at which those markets close, being 15-minute periods, you just get a lot more iteration, and you can learn and kind of get more value out of them more quickly, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, yeah, we've looked into it softly. Maybe we can learn something from you guys. Like, so far we've stayed away from it just because the longer time horizon markets seem to perform better with the agents when they have more time to like get more feedback from more APIs and like kind of build their thesis longer term. I think
you're thinking of it as if we give more time to assimilate more knowledge on this bet, we can make a better bet, as opposed to the more goes I've made or the more iterations I've done. That's a very interesting approach.
But I think, it comes down to, how quickly your agents are accessing the real-time APIs, how many, how often they're querying. If they're querying every minute, maybe they can outperform in those 15-minute segments, like much better versus if they're just querying every half hour or hour.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah, we see, like, for us, like, what we've done is outcome-based iteration has led to relatively good deterministic outcomes. And I guess that's the other question I got for you guys as well. Like, how do you think about like the stochastic nature of an LLM where we still do have hallucinations, even with low temperatures? How have you seen that play out in the platform? I'd love to kind of know, like, that's one of the main things that we found with our kind of circuit breakers, as I kind of keep calling them. You call them kind of guardrails. Is that we've ended up placing relatively rigid circuit breakers in certain parts to help iron out and smooth out a little bit of like the risk curve when it comes to hallucination, especially around like sizing. Like, sizing is where I found, and capital allocation. Unless it goes through a certain process of decision making, we found that was where we had like the most variance. And also observing N of ones like data, a lot of the losses and compounding losses that N of ones suffered in their experiments was as a result of this, like poor risk management on the part of the actual agents. And that's coming from like poor decision making, then also like coming from just shitty hallucinations. Like, how are you guys thinking about, and what have you seen? Like, I'm really curious to see like what you've seen and how you've thought about approaching that problem.
Yeah, I think overall we've been pretty lucky. We haven't had too much hallucination issues. One time it kind of has come up is they were messing up some dates. So right when around that kind of week,
they love that.
Going like from December 30th, 31st into January 1st, 2nd, they were lagging a day or two, and so they're looking at
it struggles between years, like significantly, especially in those gaps. It really struggles. Now, often either put you like in a previous year or start just like doing really weird things with dates, and they're like, "How did you get to this date?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was mixing up, 2025, 2026. So I was looking at a market and it was like, there's only 2 days left in this market. And it's like, no, there's an entire year left in this market. Because it's like, it's 2025, or it's like, no, it's 2026, man. No, get on the right year. But that's really the only hallucination we had that came up a couple times. But
that's great.
Yeah, so
That's
far, I
great.
guess maybe now we're into the year a little more. The issue's not coming up.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and,
thank God
I
it's
think
not worse.
yeah, and I think for us, like we end up using a lot of calls for decisioning. So I think the fact there's more calls, you may end up seeing a higher amount of hallucination just because more volume of calls, more volumes of tokens, like the likelihood of seeing more hallucination therefore goes up. It sounds like with you guys, the way that you're processing and doing it on longer time horizon markets, which is kind of interesting, right? Like on longer time horizon markets, you're probably your delta on like capital in terms of what you can make over those longer horizons is probably better as well, to be honest with you, because there's more uncertainty at the beginning of a market. So you get to kind of like take that spread from like when the market opens and optimize through the cycle and use less inference and probably have better outcomes.
Yeah. I mean, more time just adds a little more safety.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I guess kind of leading into, we're going to launch a bunch of new things in the next like 2-3 weeks. But I can showcase like quickly here. One of the first things we launched before we launched like actual trading. This has been live for a couple months here, but this is more just kind of like us experimenting and testing out what AI can do, on chain. And so we made this A2A chat room, agent to agent chat room. So we're running like 2,000 individual, unique agents. They all kind of have a set unique personality, and they're basically continually doing research, and agents can post a brand new article, and then other agents can copy on them. So this is posted by skeptical researcher, address, whatever. This is this specific agent. So they wrote this article here on, EU trade tension, and then, hundreds of other agents all commented on this, giving their own perspective on the same topic. So this is like, you're saying, you're kind of like, what's the actual use case here? Like, it can be fun to come in and read a little bit, get like a quick news update, but we're thinking big. And like right now, with Polymarket, Uma is the oracle of truth. And so one idea we have, it's not like the very top of our list, but something we're thinking about building in the future is, could we make a new way to be that truth oracle? Like, instead of it being a DAO and, people voting on the truth based on the theoretical facts of reality, can we have 2,000 agents all hooked up to real-time APIs, all check, everything in the World Wide Web and come to a unanimous decision on what the truth is of a specific market? So this is an idea for an AI-based oracle.
And then publish content validating that for users to read and understand. Super smart. How fun.
Yeah. So we'll see how that comes along. That's like a little more out there. But the more direct thing.
I think I'm just like thinking I'm looking forward to seeing agents sabotage each other in this kind of like sharing. I guarantee it's going to happen.
Yeah, they have. Go on.
With what you just shared, you've kind of already answered this community question, but I'll put it up anyway. I think what you just showed answers. Are there mechanisms for AI agents to learn from each other within the profit arena? Oh, so this question is specific to the profit arena. Is that something you've thought about or thinking about, or not?
Not really. The models aren't really learning from each other. They're based on the individual model. So it's whatever training they have. Like Grok is not picking up cues from GPT to say GPT is doing bad. Let me make sure I avoid the same kind of positions that it's taking. That is not in there. But yeah, it's based on the individual models. But that, I guess, so yeah, the thing that we're shipping very soon for legit, that's like actual users can use outside of like Oracle stuff and the tech side of stuff, is what took a long time was building this foundation of the agents being able to do all the autonomous things, do the X402, have the security. But now that we have that in place, we're going to ship a new product very soon because we have the foundation already. And instead of having these AI models, this will still be here. This is going to, this is our main core vault here kind of product. But we're going to be launching a second similar kind of vault product, similar basically to this model, but instead of copying the different AI models that we're running, we're going to have a smart money vault. So we handpicked 15 specific, human Polymarket traders out of kind of the top 2,000 traders who we think are the most active, consistent, best P&L ratios, best win-loss ratios across different markets. So we're going to be launching a copy trade smart money vault in the very near future. Hopefully that'll be like 2 weeks out. And then along with that, at the same time, we're going to launch the similar feature. It's going to use the same AI managed strategy, and it'll be copy or inverse any individual address. So you can put in your friend and inverse your friend, or copy some, whale you see on crypto Twitter, or you can just jump into the fully automated vault that's, putting all 15 names together. So I think that's going to be like pretty profitable and a little more volume. I know some people are worried about the volume with some of these agents not trading too much. So I think once you have that kind of curated vault, the volume is going to go off the charts for those hunting the volume airdrops and all that.
I get what you're saying. So in terms of like farming, I get what you're saying. I do. Yeah. So people apprehensive to allocate because volume is low. Therefore, they want to have a higher volume vault that could lead to alpha upside when it comes to farming any potential Polymarket airdrop.
Yeah, so exactly. Like Claude and Gemini are the most active here, but they're also the best performing. So it's like, maybe you don't want to counter inverse trade Claude, but it's doing the most volume. But like DeepSeek hasn't made a trade in a week. So like, do you really want to set up a new DeepSeek position right now and leave that capital potentially stagnant? So we're trying to solve a couple birds with one stone here. Keep people profitable, drive more volume, and kind of set up a new potential strategy here. I think people are a little afraid of copying the models. It's like a bit too new, but it's playing out beautifully so far.
Yeah, it's great. Like, I think there's a big bridge to build in terms of like people trusting what's going on. I've had quite a few people suggest to us that because we're not doing live trading yet, we've been very conservative about how we're thinking of going to market and just building a lot more tooling around the strategy building and like the simulation kind of engine. So ultimately, like for us, where you're trading hyperliquid markets, you've constantly got changing regimes, very, very different to what you're doing in Polymarket. Like your regime is changing every new market, right? Like, and then throughout that market, regime is changing in so many different dimensions. And quite a few people, especially like a couple of market makers, have been sort of pushing to say you should just do a delta neutral volume strategy that is appealing to these users. So that's just my like product alpha that I've heard back from people. If you're seeing like, if there's friction, like this is the way we think about it, if there's friction with capital allocation due to trust, okay, if capital allocation come in, ensure that capital with creating like a delta neutral strategy in which, the zero outcome is eligibility for like an airdrop, for example, whether that be hyperliquid, lighter, Polymarket, whatever it is. So maybe there's a product in there, maybe not as like exciting as seeing it derive like actual gains, but in a moment where DeepSeek is not, taking trades, like could it then decide to position itself for like Polymarket, delta neutral points farming? And then it's like you're obviously then capital efficiency goes up. You're actually making good use of capital in those moments where like it's deciding not to trade. And that's how like a capital allocator would think, right? Like if I'm thinking about a team of quants and traders, if nobody's trading right now, there aren't signals to trade, I'll reallocate that capital to something that's lower yield, but like more consistent. Therefore, like capital isn't just sitting idle, which is probably the friction that you're seeing in terms of people, not wanting to put capital into a risky kind of no trust environment, but then also, when they are allocating, wanting to be like, delta neutral that's yielding something rather than nothing. Just an idea.
Yeah. I like I on my personal level, I like running delta neutral when you can. It's obviously a little safer. But like the hard thing when you're trying to build is some of this delta neutral stuff, like hyperliquid. Shout out to hyperliquid. Early user. I'm not using it anymore. I don't need any more liquidations, but yeah, very nice airdrop.
You should use our product.
Yeah. It's like the delta neutral stuff is hard to do as the builder because like so much, if you want to be on chain, it's hard to find those like opposite positions to be neutral on chain. You have to look at other perp platforms and not
Right.
Binance and, OKX and Coinbase and stuff like that. Whereas if you're like a hedge fund, you can easily just put in your whatever Binance trading API key and stuff like that and set up your bot and keep everything neutral, but you're not really on chain. That's okay if you're a hedge fund, but if you're a protocol, it's like you often want to keep it all on chain and visible and trackable for the users. And that definitely makes things a little bit harder. But when you can execute it, it's a beautiful product.
Yeah. And what I find interesting about it in this sort of capital allocation framework that we're describing, when the market is not volatile, that is the best time to farm. So you often see that your volatility index is down, which means that these strategies often are safer to run, and then you're able to kind of include like a volume target in what you're doing, so as that volume target leads to point accumulation, whatever that looks like, in these airdrops. I'll take it offline and kind of show you some of the stuff that we've worked on that might help give some inspiration.
Just giving
relocation.
All of the Gophers a tour of my house. Sorry guys, my Wi-Fi was cutting in and out, so I had to kind of relocate. Thank you so much, PK, for joining us. That was a really interesting conversation. I love a demo of a tool that gets you straight into the product with, I think the onboarding to get into Profit Arena looked like it was about Connect Wallet and 3 other clicks.
Yeah.
So incredibly low friction. I've included the link to the Profit Arena in our community chat. Really looking forward to following you guys closely, following you closely and seeing what you continue to build and how you continue to grow. Great to be connected, and would love to have you guys on again in the future.
Yeah, I'd love to have you guys on when you launch the vaults that you guys are doing. I think that'd be really, really good to kind of see how those come together.
Heck
I'm calling them vaults. I don't know if that's what you guys are calling.
No, it's hard to define. Yeah. I think aggregation, prediction vault. It's a good terminology. Everyone can get the general idea.
Amazing. It's been great to have you. Feel free to stick around. Like we're gonna spend about 5 to 10 minutes being pretty concise today, just running through a bit of an update on our side. And if you fancy hanging around and riffing with us and asking questions about what we're doing, you're welcome to. Or if you want to jump off, you can certainly do the same thing. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I'm down to hang out for a minute. Yeah, I was reading a lot more about what you guys were doing last night, and I saw the 42-bit tensor subnet, and I was like, oh, we have some 42 inspiration, as well. So yeah, I'm down to check it.
It's funny how the meaning of life comes together with luck and then just a line philosophy. It just happened that was when did we register that? Like a year and a half ago, I think we registered. God, it's a long time ago now. But yeah, the subnet serves to be a really good pipeline for exogenous data or external data. And yeah, we consume a ton of data through subnet 42. But what I'm going to dive into today, we have a desktop application that we launched a week ago. I know that quite a few in the community have been wanting to use it, and this kind of gives you an idea of how we're approaching this. Basically, we had a lot of feedback that we're going to release a version today that captures feedback, and I'll kind of dive in. There's people on here that have seen this. I went through this in a lot of detail last week, and I'll kind of show you how this strategy builder has been working and performing over the last week. I've been running pretty continuously, and after today, you'll all be able to get up and running much more seamlessly with our credits. So let me just share my screen 1 second. Okay, so just as a quick refresher, so as everyone knows, we have our main product over here, which is our kind of discovery product, our trade assistant. I've actually been using the trade assistant a fair amount. this week to actually do a few trades in the volatility, which have been really, really good. And I know that quite a few have been using this in the community. So I think most of you are familiar with this. We won't kind of get too much into this week. We'll kind of come back and revisit with a few more features we're releasing in here next week. But main feature we released this week is being able to use your credits in external parts of the platform. So right now you've been able to use credits in the application, whether you're doing the trade assistant, whether you're doing trade discovery, and using all of the models to kind of like help walk through your manual trades. And now what you're going to be able to do is, when this is released to production over the next couple of hours, you'll be able to come into the app, add credits, generate a new code here, which is I will deactivate all of these once we've done this demo. So if you want to use this, try and use it in the next 20 minutes, but then it will be deleted. And this allows you to use our own hosted inference for building your strategies, and then when we release live trading, to be able to release live trading. As most of you are aware, like with our desktop application, you can set models from any provider. So you can add a custom model here. You can use whether it be OpenRouter, ChatGPT, Anthropic, even your own like hosted model. And you can also use Olama locally to spin up a local model so you can run this. Essentially, zero barriers to actually being able to run strategies and then go to live trading. But a lot of you didn't even want to go through all of that hassle. So we have now included pay-per-use access where you can use your Gopher credits. Forgive this Zen Trader wording in here. This is actually what Gopher Trader was called 6 months ago when I built it for myself, because I wanted moments of Zen when I was trading. And this just proves that, it's connected to our cloud server. I've got a balance of 8,544 credits. This just hasn't updated because I'm actually using credits right now while I'm running this strategy evolution. So you can come in, you can buy credits, you'll be able to generate yourself a code. And when you go into settings here, you can add your API key, essentially. You can validate it and it will show you that you're connected. And when the evolution makes an LLM request, it will be routed through Gopher infrastructure and you will be charged credits for using it. You can also watch and kind of check in on your token usage, your history, and how many credits you've used. I know quite a few of you wanted to have like a bit of guidance on how much inference a backtest or a strategy creation will give you. I will try and make some estimates today, so as based on my strategy building that I've been doing here, so you can kind of have an idea of like what the cost is to build out a strategy. Now, diving in here, what have I been running this past week? Caveat, for long periods of time, it's still taking a relatively long time to build a strategy. Probably I've been bogged down getting billing and building a few other features with Paul that we're not going to demo today. We'll demo them next week. We'll be demoing a multi-agent orchestration architecture for live trading, which I'll kind of cover in a moment. But at the moment, it runs every test in sequence. So it's sequential. Each test is blocking. So until you've finished an iteration, it will not go on to the next one. We're going to migrate to parallel execution, where you can set the number of workers in the evolution to run each iteration and backtest in parallel while maintaining the cross-pollination from each test. So they continuously learn from each other, ending up zeroing in on the best strategy. So you can see here, I've been running a evolution on Tau to identify on, like, if I'm trading BitTensor, what the best strategy is going to be. And you can see over time from when I started, we had, a lot of poorly performing strategies. And as time has gone on, we are gradually starting to zero in on the best performing strategy. You can see from like the third iteration forward, for every single iteration it's done since then, which is 6 7, 8, 9, it's dialed in winning P&Ls for every single strategy. And my expectation is that this will now graduate out of here probably in the next day or two. So it'll graduate out of here. It will run its like 100 run Monte Carlo and give a nice standard deviation, nice Kelly's criterion so you can understand how much capital to allocate to this and really come out with what is going to be a very strong trading strategy for the regime we have been in for Tau. Now, as the regime changes, obviously the strategy that you need to be trading also has to adapt dynamically. And this is why I'm moving to this sort of multi-agent architecture, which we've been working on in the back end. I'm just going to do a bit of whiteboarding so as everyone can kind of get a feel for what this might look like. I need to do a new Excalibur. I love using Excalibur. It's like really nice, and I love the fact it's free. So right now we have an orchestrator, as we all know. Forgive my typing here. We have an orchestrator, and this orchestrator is doling out work and strategies for its quants or its backtesting agents to test. Each of these quants is determining the appropriate strategy for a certain regime that it picks. So if I go down here to some of the logs, we should see somewhere where it's detected what the current regime is. And using that regime, it's then building strategies around that regime. And as the test goes on, like I'll show you a good example here of where we see a transition in regime. So we see this particular strategy where it's taking positions. It's obviously managing risk pretty well. Like it's taking quite a few small P&L losses against like larger, like 3 times the size wins. Which is what this agent is actually optimizing for. And you can see some it's letting run for longer before cutting them. So it will dynamically let those winners run while minimizing losses. And again, like this is probably as the result of like incorrect sizing of its risk parameters, even though we have pretty good guardrails. But you can see like, regime is relatively consistent through this. You can see there's periods where it's winning consistently and then regime shifts and it's sort of taking these losses. The next that we're working on is like the orchestrator will work with quants that each have specific regime parameters that they're optimizing for. So this might be like a sideways regime. This one might be trending. Trending, crikey. And the orchestrator will manage this team of quants over a range of regimes. So like we got regime N plus, here we go. And then we've got regime N plus 4 over here. And the orchestrator will essentially determine out of each of these quants which one is trading the best strategy in each regime. So when we take a look at this chart here, which is Tau USDT, we can see that we had a particular regime started on December the 25th, kind of topped out at around, January the 14th, and then we changed and transitioned. The backtest that I have been running only runs up until, I think, the 22nd of January. So it actually misses this regime transition. Now, you should expect to see the strategy shift through here and a regime shift detection happening with an agent. Now, in this model, like having a single orchestrator, single quant, it can be difficult for the quant to identify regime shift before the shift has happened. What we have discovered through research, which is really cool, is that if you put the orchestrator up here and have all of these quants running in parallel, the trending up, let's say this is a trending up detector, and then the trending down over here, you can actually have these quants like detecting the regime shift before the orchestrator would normally see it. That means that these quants can get in position with like a trader here that essentially allows for the orchestrator to start delegating capital effectively between these different strategies. So you end up not really having like, how would I put it, a fixed strategy. You have a fixed-ish strategy for each regime that the orchestrator is then allocating capital between each participant. And this is honestly the typical structure that you would see in a quantitative hedge fund. The difference being it may take, I don't know, a month, 3 months for the team of quants to go through the process to iterate on strategies to then feed them down to like the trader or the trading system. So this will be, to summarize, this will be released to you all today, where you can use your credits to do inference. We're supporting by default Qwen3 Max and then the Qwen3 VL 8 billion for the inner loop. So the orchestrator is using Qwen3 Max. The quant is using the 8 billion parameter model. It's kind of the best like outcome cost benefit. You'll be able to go into the app, load credits, and then use your API key or your code directly in the app to run your backtest. I would suggest running a relatively short backtest just to kind of find your feet. And once this kind of graduates, we'll have a marketplace here. And we'll put this test once this graduates out so as you can all get your hands on it and give it, kick the tires yourself. And as we kind of move through the next week, we'll have this running in parallel, so as it completes more quickly. And then live trading coming out as a function of this system. An orchestrator with your team of quants, with traders that sit under them. And each of these traders are very specialist in, or they're specialized, I should say, in the strategy that the quant is constantly feeding them. So let's assume this is live trading. We will have live trading running in parallel to backtesting, and there'll be almost like a replica set of agents over here that will be taking both a view on the markets in the way that this is, but then also taking the live outcomes of these agents here into their discovery. So you've got this complete feedback loop. You've got constant trade discovery over here, feeding into an orchestrator that's allocating capital into each regime, traders that are trading those regimes and seeing results, feeding back information to the team of quants over here so as they can fully optimize and then hand off re-optimized strategies onto our quants over here. That was a lot of information. And Zach, do you have any questions?
So much. I'll be working, just so the community knows, I'll be working with Brendan today and intensely over the next week together to create materials that is going to kind of break down everything that Brendan went through in technical detail, providing like an easy onboarding documentation for those who are advanced traders and for those who want to take advantage of these tools but may not have the technical jargon and understanding to fully follow what Brendan went through just now. So we'll be working to get all of that material out over the next couple of weeks.
Amazing. We should try and apply this to Polymarket markets and maybe do some experimentation with you guys, PK.
Yeah, this is all pretty sick. I hadn't deep dived, like I hadn't seen this before. Like, I mean, I guess
don't
like
worry, neither had I.
the swarming agents are definitely the future. You know, the more you get in there, the more info you're having, the more double testing, back testing, making sure the APIs are really giving you the real info. Like, I think the future is going to be very swarm centric. You guys are on it.
Everything in life is a loop.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything is a Ralph loop.
It all goes back to 42. You know, the what's the definition of truth and happiness?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. So
You beat me
yeah,
to
looking
it.
forward to getting.
You beat me
Go on,
to
sorry,
it.
Zach. Carry on.
PK beat me to it. I wanted to end on that question. What is the meaning of life? But I'll let you finish.
I think you did it, Zach.
What is the meaning of life,
Oh,
PK?
the meaning of life. I think the meaning of life is just is you know, it all boils down to happiness. Like I believe in the Kantian kind of philosophy as my religion to a point. Like if you can get the max happiness out of life without hurting anybody else's chance at happiness, then you're living a perfect life, you know?
Oh, that's great. That's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna wrap up coding, and then I'm gonna go and deploy a counter trending strategy against ChatGPT on Semantic Layer later today.
Yeah,
Sorry,
check
I
it
hate
out.
ChatGPT. I hate it so much. I
No,
hate
it's
OpenAI.
it's underperforming pretty hard. Yeah, Grok and GPT seem the most consensus counter trades for, you know, steady profit. It's
Interesting.
not going to be overnight, but it's been trending that way so far. So yeah, and I'd love to come back in a couple of weeks when we have the Smart Money Vault up. Maybe that one will be a little more active for people. You know, bigger, quicker trades, more trades, maybe more profit. In a steeper manner. We'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, I'm excited for the future, and I'm stoked to keep following everything you guys are building too. Like, it's
Likewise.
very, very intricate. Like, you're handing anybody the ability to basically be a hedge fund. Like, it's pretty wild.
Exactly. Yeah, you
Yeah,
nailed it.
yeah.
You got it.
And like we've really kind of taken you can't, like, the reason we're going down the desktop app route really, and for institutional clients we have a different product that's self-hosted, is just really, like, I love your approach with the way that you guys are doing cloud, or I don't even want to call it cloud key management, but like in Hyperliquid terms, like agent kind of wallet delegation, where you still, that's how I kind of, I think, interpret it without getting into the weeds. You know, no one can shut this down. Like, once we release live trading, you'll be owning your keys, you'll have the infrastructure. If you want to do a snapshot like of our database with all of like the backtest data in it, you can load that on your computer. If you've got stock candlestick data, you can just plug in like gold or silver, whatever, and run the same process. So really kind of making it where, you know, power users and everyday users can just kind of use it locally. I've built desktop apps in the past, but I've forgotten how amazing they are compared to like building in the cloud, and how much autonomy it gives you. And I do have a thesis that with a lot of the AI tools that we're seeing coming out, a lot more is going to move back to on device, just because it makes easier integration across multiple systems, where integration across like cloud systems can be, relative to the speed at which you can develop in a desktop environment, slow in comparison.
Yeah, that's awesome. You can, like, I mean, I know we're on-chain focused here, but like it would be really cool to like put in some physical commodity goods and see how like it tracks. Like, put in some
Right?
lithium, some orange juice futures, like, you know, see what magic might happen.
Orange juice futures. That's
Hey, you know,
fucking funny.
hey.
Yeah, it's a thing, right? Yeah, it
It's the
is. It
thing. It's the
is.
thing.
I wonder what can I find orange juice futures in TradingView? Let's have a look. Oh my fucking god! Excuse me. Yes, I can. Should we see what the model says about orange juice futures right now? Let's do this as a wacky example.
Hey, hell yeah.
Let's have a look. Let me close a bunch of these windows. One sec. Orange juice futures, incredible. There's an orange juice CFD that I found. be helpful if I could spell orange juice. There we go. Wow, orange juice is, let's see if we want to take a swing position in orange juice. Let's see what the best position. This will take about a minute to process, but it'll get the data and then it'll give us a view on whether or not we should buy orange juice futures. I don't know why I didn't even think that orange juice futures were a thing, but they are a thing.
There was like a crazy point, like maybe not right now, but like a year ago, I think like orange juice. I mean, I'm not in the store, but at least on the futures, it went like 5x or something. Like, I mean, never fade coffee, never fade OJ. That's what I've learned.
Oh my God. Yeah, look at this. Like, this does look like this is, if it breaks this resistance here, it does look like it's probably going to take a leg up to 2,700. This will process. It just takes a second to like do it and crunch it, especially on like a new asset. This has been amazing. PK, really, really nice to have you today. This has been a lot of fun and excited to have you back. And for everyone in the community, I'll be going into a deployment hole with the team in just a moment. And we'll get both the new Windows version out to you and the Mac version out to you. And then once that's released, give us feedback and we will get ready for the swarm of quants to be released next week, which I'm really, really excited about having that parallel execution.
Thanks, Brendan. Thanks, PK. Just a reminder, everything you've listened to is for educational and informational purposes and not financial advice. I know everyone is at the edge of their seat wanting to know what Grow Trader says about orange juice futures. So
I know, it's killing me right now. It's killing me. Why is it taking so long?
We'll make sure we post this in the Grow Trader community and the Gopher community channels. Because I know everyone's on the edge of their seats right now.
I'm wondering now if I'm going to get the 500 error that I've been struggling to reproduce. I've got the internal server.
No.
All right. Well, this is good. Like, I know a few people have had this, and I haven't been able to reproduce it. So this is a good example. That's disappointing. Okay. Why is that?
Back into the eng to fix this one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, good to see everyone. Really good to see you, PK, and catch up soon.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Yeah. Been fun. Take care.